Yes.
What?
Yes, you may have a cup of coffee.
How did you... How did you know I wanted a cup of coffee?
It's not important. What is important is that we have a little chat about the last 48 hours.
Where am I?
Your cooperation will be rewarded.
Where am I?
Someplace safe. You want to be safe, don't you, Jeff?
How do you know my name?
Well, we know a lot about you. Probably more than you know about yourself.
Not difficult.
You saying you don't know yourself?
I'm saying nobody knows who they really are. Nobody.
Oh, I don't know. I have a pretty good grasp on who I am. And I think you have a pretty good grasp on you.
Nobody knows who they really are.
Shall we begin?
Begin what? I don't know why I'm here.
You're here to provide information. You're here to help us ascertain the situation. Understand?
I understand everything but the why.
You know why.
I've been arrested? Is that it?
You've been detained.
Why?
So we might better understand the situation and better understand you. And to understand what happened to you, we need to understand the last 72 hours.
What about the last 72 hours?
Let's start with the fire.
What about it?
You are the assistant manager at the Main Street Diner, correct?
Yes?
And that building burned down 72 hours ago, correct?
Yes.
So let's begin there. Tell me about the fire.
Jesus, the fire department.
I called them. They're on their way.
Jeff, this don't look good. Don't look good at all.
I know. Let me just...
We gotta get out of here.
I know.
What are you doing?
Let me finish these dishes.
What?
Just a couple more.
What the hell's wrong with you? If it spreads to the kitchen, it could ignite the gas main. The whole building could explode.
There. Done. Let's go.
What the hell's wrong with you? Doing dishes?
We have to move, Bernie. The fire's getting worse.
You're some piece of work, you know that?
Door, Bernie. Now.
I've never seen anything.
You washed a sink full of dirty dishes in a burning building.
Yes?
The building was on fire. The suppression system had activated. The fire department was on its way. Yet you took the time to wash a sink full of dishes.
Well, not a sink full. It was just a few plates and utensils.
Why? Why did you do that?
As I say, none of us really knows ourselves.
Explain.
And you worked there for how long?
9 years. I've been assistant manager for 6.
Uh-huh. Did you see anything suspicious tonight?
What do you mean, suspicious?
Oh, stranger who doesn't belong, delivery that wasn't expected, someone lurking around the back of the building.
You suspect arson?
Well, that statement's premature.
No, it's not. The fire's not even out yet, and I'm talking to a cop. Someone must have sent you to talk to me, in the emergency room, like there was a rush. Someone must have suspected arson.
Look, any time a business goes up, we consider arson a possibility. Not many people would torch their houses for insurance money, but businesses...
The restaurant is doing fine.
You do the books?
Yes, and the restaurant is doing fine. Lori would never do that. And certainly not on a Friday night when we were completely booked.
Lori, that's,
Lori Sobel, the owner. I've worked with her for years.
Huh. So, you don't think it was arson?
I didn't say that. I said Lori wouldn't have torched the place. It was a full house.
Uh-huh. Do you know where the fire started?
No.
Do you know what caused the fire?
No.
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to a, Bernie Rodriguez. You work with him, right?
He works in the kitchen.
Well, he said after the fire was already out of control, you stopped to wash a sink full of dishes before exiting the building?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know.
Oh, excuse me.
Hello, Dr. Phelps.
Jeff, you look a little singed.
I'm all right. Since when do you work the emergency room?
They were short-handed tonight. Would you excuse us, officer?
Well, actually, I had a few more questions.
I know, but I'm seeing some signs here that have me a little concerned. Could you interview someone else for a few minutes? You can have him back, I promise.
All right, Doc. Whatever you say.
Thank you. Jeff,
Yes.
they suspected arson.
That's what I understand. Yes.
Jeff,
No. Of course not.
are you sure?
Am I sure I did not set fire to the building? Yes, I am sure. I think I would have remembered doing that.
All right, I'm sorry. But I think you need to be very forthright with the police.
You mean like you were just now? Pretending to be an emergency room doctor when you're really a psychologist?
I never claimed to be an emergency room doctor. That cop just assumed.
Why did you come down here, anyway?
One of the nurses called. She said you'd been brought in for smoke inhalation and were being questioned by the police.
And that was enough to get you out of your bed at night?
Well, some of the things we talk about in our sessions would interest the police.
I thought our sessions were confidential.
They are. I won't tell them anything. Don't worry about that. It's just, I'm concerned you would say something without really understanding the impact it might have.
Like what?
Like how much you hate everyone at the restaurant.
I don't hate them. I just don't think about them much. They're unimportant.
They're human beings.
Does that automatically make them important?
You see, that's what I'm talking about. In a tragedy like this, coming off as cold and unfeeling can be dangerous. The police could look at you as a potential suspect.
I'm sure they already do.
Well, then, we need to do everything we can to...
Dr. Phelps, I appreciate you coming down here, but everything is under control. I did not set this fire. I did not try to murder all those people. I am guilty of nothing.
So it wasn't one of your traps. This wasn't a fantasy of yours. Trapping people in a building, then setting it on fire?
Like we talk about in our sessions?
Like we talk about in our sessions.
No. I wouldn't have been inside the building with them when the fire started.
Well, we can talk about that more next Tuesday. In the meantime, have you given any more thought to that clinical trial I
No
mentioned?
medications. They make me fuzzy.
But this new one is supposed to mitigate the side effects.
They all claim to do that. None of them do. Besides, I like the way my brain works. I can focus when other people can't. Did you hear about me washing dishes?
I did, yes.
Everyone else in the place was running around like chickens with their heads cut off. But I'm calmly sticking to my duties.
You don't think that was a little odd? Washing dishes in a burning building.
Don't you start.
But this is what we're talking about. We've diagnosed you, but you refuse treatment.
What I've refused is drugs. I come to our sessions. That's considered treatment, isn't it?
Not if you don't take any of my suggestions.
I won't go on drugs. Not now. Not when I'm close.
Close to what?
Maybe I'm not ready to trust doctor-patient confidentiality quite that much.
You worry me, Jeff.
I'm fine.
You worry me, and I understand your situation better than you think I do. I understand it very, very well.
So you keep saying. Next Tuesday, then? 3:30?
Yes.
Candy. Candace. Could you just ease up a little bit?
I almost lost you.
Just loosen your grip, please. I can barely breathe.
But I almost lost you.
You did not almost lose me.
There was a fire.
I got out in plenty of time. It was fine.
I almost lost you.
There. It's all right.
How can you be like this?
Be like what?
So calm. How can you be so calm? There was a fire. Jeff, I almost lost you.
Fires happen sometimes, and as I've said repeatedly, you did not almost lose me. So could you please just start the car and take me home?
Damn it.
What is it?
Never mind.
Wait. Hold on. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Candy,
Nothing is wrong. Nothing is ever wrong.
what's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. I'll just take you home. The doctors were concerned that you couldn't drive yourself because of smoke inhalation, so I'll just pretend to be your damn Uber and drive you home.
I'm sorry.
For what?
You're upset, and I don't know why. And for that, I'm sorry.
Let's just go home.
Candy...
No, let's just go home. It's stupid and I don't want to talk about it, so let's just go home.
Fine. You haven't started the car.
You really don't understand, do you? Of course you don't understand. It's stupid.
I would like to understand.
I thought
Yes?
this would be the time when things were different with you.
Different than what?
Different than you. The way you always are, so calm, so collected, so cold.
I'm not cold toward you, am I?
Sometimes.
Then I'm sorry. I'll try harder.
No.
No?
No, trying harder won't make a difference. It's who you are. It's who you've always been. You're not normal, Jeff. Do you understand? People who've been through a traumatic experience do not just shrug it off like this.
All people are different.
But you aren't normal. Nothing phases you. Nothing matters to you one way or another. I used to think you were repressing all this emotion, that you had to let it out at some point or you were going to explode. But now, when I heard what happened at the restaurant and you called me, I was sure I was going to show up in here and see, for the first time, something human in your eyes. Something besides that glassy-eyed stare. But it was just the same. Almost burning to death did nothing to change you. Nothing.
I don't know what to say.
There's nothing to say. Look, it's been fun and everything, but I think both of us just want something different from a relationship. I think it would be better if we were just friends.
What?
I think I left a sweater at your apartment. When we get there, can I come up and get it? I think it was red. I'm not sure it's there, but I can't find it anywhere else, and...
Dr. Phelps said there are drugs.
What?
I've been seeing a counselor for a year.
You have?
He's diagnosed me. Did a long time ago. You're right. I'm not normal. I don't understand emotions and feelings very well. It's like a foreign language. I can pick up a word or two, so to speak, but most of the time...
Why didn't you tell me you were seeing a counselor?
It's embarrassing.
Oh, Jeff.
I really want us to work, what we have. I'm sorry. Did I do wrong?
No, it's fine. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't know. I didn't know you were trying to get better.
I am. I really am.
I'll try harder to understand.
I'll communicate more. I promise.
That's all I really want.
I'll try really hard.
I love you so much.
I love you, too.
Now, what about these drugs?
What?
The drugs. You said there were drugs? Is this a clinical trial or something that's more long-term? What did they do? Help you overcome your inhibitions? So, tell me.
I don't know anything about them, except I think it's a clinical trial.
But they'll help you, right? Help you to feel like a normal person.
Yes.
Oh, sweetie, I'm so happy. Let's go home.
Yes.
Scratch the itch.
I'm sorry, what?
Scratch the itch. I was saying I understand what it's like to have an itch you can't scratch.
Oh.
You all right? You were spacing out there for a minute.
I'm fine. I was just lost in thought about what you were saying.
Oh. And what was it I was saying?
I apologize. I don't know.
It's okay, Jeff. We all space out sometimes. I was just commenting that it helps to meet casually like this. It was a good idea.
I'm sorry for taking you away from your office.
No, don't be. The more time I can spend away from there, the better. And if you're more comfortable in a coffee shop than on an office couch, so be it.
So you still consider this a session?
An informal one, but yes.
You're not taking notes.
Should I be?
You just usually take notes in a session.
Well, you picked my favorite coffee spot, and I happen to know the French roast here keeps me alert enough to remember everything that's said. Thanks, Heather.
But we're still in a session.
We don't need to be if that bothers you.
No, it's what I prefer. Doctor-patient confidentiality.
So you're ready to talk about it?
Talk about what?
Your itch. The one you can't scratch for some reason. This is confidential, Jeff. You can talk to me.
Sometimes I have thoughts.
We've talked about this.
Thoughts about people. How stupid they all are.
We've talked about that, too.
You know, they used to say I was stupid. In school, I mean. But I wasn't. I was just bored. The subjects that interested me, like chemistry and biology, were fine, but English, history, gym, what was the point, right?
Right.
If I'd gotten to someone like you earlier, I probably would have been diagnosed with some kind of learning disability, like autism or Asperger's syndrome.
Well, those aren't, strictly speaking, learning disabilities, but I take your meaning.
Focus.
What?
That's what it's about, really. My ability to focus on one thing. People are intimidated by it. That was always the problem. I'd skip other classes to do a chemistry lab over and over until I got it perfect. I got in huge trouble one time for dissecting 17 fetal pigs. Cost the school $200.
17?
One right after the other. Janitor found me at 5 a.m.
So, focus.
Yeah. In a way, it's kind of like a superpower, isn't it? People don't understand. They think life is about balance. I don't think it is. I think life is about pruning back what you don't need. The tree grows stronger when you prune back the dead wood.
You know, Jeff, this is all very interesting, but I have the sneaking suspicion it's not what you want to talk about.
It is, in a general sense.
But not in a specific sense.
No.
What is it you want to talk about specifically, Jeff?
Specifically?
Yes. What's the thing that has you concerned about doctor-patient confidentiality?
We've talked before about my traps.
The ones you used to draw when you were a kid?
And build.
And build?
I caught a squirrel once. That was a good trap.
What about the traps, Jeff?
What if I told you I think about trapping people sometimes?
Go on.
There's so much chaos in the world. So many people walking around, out of control.
And you feel the need to control those people, Jeff?
Sometimes. Sometimes I just want to put a stop to things.
How? How would you control these people?
I have some ideas.
With fire?
Maybe.
You realize doctor-patient confidentiality only goes so far, right? If I suspect a patient is a danger to himself or others, I have an obligation to report that.
Sure. But do you suspect it?
Suspect what?
That I might use fire.
I haven't decided yet.
You know, sometimes I think you and I are not that different.
Oh?
No. You want to control people, don't you? Isn't that what doctors want?
I want to help people. In my line, wanting to control people would lead to lots of trouble. You know what we said day one, right?
No one can get better unless they decide to.
Right in one. If I had a need to control people, the last thing I would be is a psychologist.
Point taken. But you do want to see them controlled, right?
In control of themselves.
In control of themselves. of course. But it amounts to the same thing.
You know what's different about you in this session? You've been smiling now for the last 5 minutes.
I don't smile in your office.
You never smile. Anywhere. I've never seen you.
Well, maybe I'm having a good day.
That's good. You want to tell me why you're having a good day?
I've made a decision.
What about?
About you.
Me?
Yeah. I'm going to confide in you, Dr. Phelps.
That's good.
I think about more than trapping people. More than controlling them. I think about ending them.
Go on.
It's a form of control, I guess. The ultimate form. Erasing a person like a black mark on a white wall. Seeing them just disappear. It's almost intoxicating, the thought of it.
I see.
The thought, not the action. Everyone has a right to exist.
Jeff, I think it's important at this point for you to confront these feelings directly.
What does that mean?
I think you should name what it is you're talking about.
Fine. I'm talking about murder.
You don't seem terribly bothered by naming this.
I've been told my moral compass is different than most people's.
Okay, so what about murder?
What do you mean?
What do you think about murder? What's your opinion of it?
In a general sense, it's wrong, obviously.
What about in a specific sense?
Depends on the person. Some people just deserve it.
What would cause a person to deserve being murdered?
Waste, I suppose. A waste of space. Taking advantage of other people's kindness. Criminals, con artists, liars.
That's a pretty big group.
That's why I'd never actually murder anyone. There's too many of them. You could run a scythe through this world and not even have an impact.
But you do think about it.
Yes.
Does it excite you sexually to think about killing people?
That's disgusting.
There's no judgment here, Jeff.
No, it does not excite me.
Are you sure?
Why are you pursuing this?
Well, to be frank, because of what facilitated this session.
What do you mean?
When you called me, you said you'd wanted to talk about your girlfriend, Candace.
Oh.
Is that not right?
No, it is. I just forgotten.
Ah. Anyway, I'd assumed when you started talking about what we're talking about, there was a sexual component.
Why would you assume that?
It's not unusual, you know? People with homicidal tendencies finding sexual pleasure from thoughts of killing.
That's not what I wanted to talk to you about.
But it is about Candace.
Indirectly. I told her what you said about there being therapies for my condition.
I see.
She was very happy about the idea. Overjoyed, actually.
You're ready to maybe give them a try.
Kill him.
Is something wrong?
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Nothing. What were we talking about?
The drug therapies. Are you ready to give them a try?
I think I am. Yes.
Kill him now.
It might take a while, you know? We'll need to try different medications, different doses. There may be several go-rounds before we get things right.
Kill him.
I think I can do that.
Good. This is a monumental step, Jeff. I'm very proud of you.
He should die for that.
Thank you. What was that? What the hell was that? What? Yeah. Psychiatric Journal. I'm being compelled to keep these journals by Dr. Phelps, but I do this under protest. I think pointless navel-gazing never did anything to losing what little respect I had for him. Phelps is a quack. Clearly a quack. I can only hope he's not doing harm, as I still think I am perfectly fine. It's everyone else that's the problem. Everyone else has always been the problem. Except you're hearing voices now, aren't you? To whom it may concern. I am writing this as a means of clearing my head, and I want it on the record that in no way does this journal suggest I believe in Dr. Phelps' methods, or that of the psychiatric community. Journaling does no good, but I find myself at an impasse. And with no other options before me, I've turned to writing this down as a means of finding a course of action. I won't write down what has come before, because that is boring to me. Suffice to say, I am not normal. Superior? Perhaps, but definitely not normal. I live in a state of agitation. I manage to function in an adjacent state to normalcy, but never quite completely normal. I have a job, or did. I am in a relationship, though I feel the status of that to be tenuous. And I function at a very high level. I'm not insane. But recently, I have begun to hear voices. The voice was quiet, childlike, and spoke in monosyllables. What it said is unimportant. I think it represents an impulse of mine, a subconscious thought that has no more validity than a wild fantasy or a fever dream. And yet... Kill him. And yet, I can't deny there is a certain appeal. I suppose it's just an immature impulse, a childish idea. I should not follow through on it, of course. But there are aspects of this that are worth considering. Kill him. Perhaps it would help if I did, just once, follow the impulse and listen to the voice. Scratching an itch, Phelps called it. I cannot imagine doing it, of course. Killing someone. Kill him. But I have no doubt I could do it and get away with it. If that cop who interviewed me after the fire is any indication of police brain power, I could get away with it easily. Very easily. This should take some thought. I should not enter into this decision lightly. I don't see the point in killing a stranger, but someone close. Someone with a reason. An act with a purpose behind it. Kill him. Maybe even someone whose death is advantageous. That's something to think about. Yes. You know who? Yes. Something to think about. This is the place.
Well, it certainly is rustic.
You don't like the cabin life?
No, I like it fine. One of the reasons I moved my practice to the north is that I could be closer to my shack.
You have one?
Just off of Route 16, yes. Not quite as rustic as this, though.
This shack has been in my family for generations. Change comes slow. It was a major chore getting Grandpa to add electricity.
Well, it's a fine example of the Northwoods hunting shack.
Uh-huh. Oh, sit down. Where are my manners? I'll put some coffee on.
All right.
Probably can't provide as good a brew as your favorite spot in town, but it will be fresh.
Is that why you invited me up here?
Is, what why?
Coffee. Is that why you invited me up here?
Oh, well, you know.
No, I don't.
I thought we could talk here.
You mean like a session?
No, just like two people. Talking.
Uh-huh.
This will need to steep for a few minutes. Here. You get the guest of honor mug. We call it that because it's the only mug in the shack without a crack in it.
Well, I feel suitably honored. So,
So?
What did you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever comes up.
You'll have to forgive me if I can't lower my clinical eye, but there's something different about you today.
Different?
I can't quite put my finger on it, but yeah. Different. More decisive.
Almost as if I've made a decision about something.
Almost.
I hope you don't take cream or sugar or anything.
At the shack? I wouldn't dream of it. So, you want to talk about your decision?
I guess.
All right. Tell me about it.
Oh, where's the fun in that, Dr. Phelps? Don't you want to question it out of me? Prod the knots in my brain until you find the right string to pull?
And what happens when I pull the right string?
It all comes undone, of course. Weeping confessions and gratitude for the noble doctor. Probably a paper and all the right journals. Maybe a self-help book and a promotional tour. Flirting with morning show hosts all over the country.
It sounds like you have my next 2 years planned out for me.
No, nothing like that. I know you won't write the book.
Why do you say that? Could be an interesting read.
You're not going to write the book, Dr. Phelps. Because you're going to be dead in a few minutes.
I see. What did you do? Poison the coffee?
No, I made sure my grandfather's deer rifle was right here by the counter where it always is. I came up earlier, made sure it was loaded, even plunked a couple of cans out back. I was a little out of practice.
Jeff, I don't think you're thinking clearly.
No, I'm thinking very clearly. I don't think unclearly. That's my cross to bear. Singularity of thought. Focus. I'm focused. More focused than you or anyone else could possibly understand.
Blood on your hands, soon.
More than you could understand.
You've brought me up here to murder me.
Yes. Is that not clear?
No, it just seems unlike you. I always thought you were better than this.
What do you mean?
Well, you're obviously intelligent, and you've obviously planned this out to a very exacting degree. And yet...
He's tricking you.
You didn't take into account my schedule. I have other appointments. I have plans this evening. Plans I made with someone. I'll be missed.
No, I thought of that. Did you tell anyone you were coming up here?
Yes.
You're lying. I picked you up at a coffee shop, and you're lying about other appointments, too. You wouldn't have come up here with me if you had other appointments. You had no idea how long the trip was. You're probably lying about the plans in the evening, too.
You seem nervous, Jeff. Is everything okay?
I'm not nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. I'm uncommonly focused. Always have been.
Are you all right, Jeff?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
They're loud, aren't they? The voices in your head?
What?
I have an idea. Why don't you do the dishes?
What?
The dishes. Why don't you wash the dishes?
They're clean.
They could always be cleaner. There. That's better. Now I imagine you're hearing voices, correct?
What's going on?
The voices. The voices you're clearly hearing now for the first time. They're awfully loud.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that the uncommon focus you're so perversely proud of is starting to break down. The things you used to ignore so you could focus on one thing are starting to intrude, yes? Your mind is losing its simplistic grip on reality. You're having trouble focusing on a single thing. It's because there's a kind of din in your head, like static, white noise, right? Stop washing the dishes. I caused you to have this, Jeff.
What?
I told you. I am closer to understanding your impulses than you might think. I'm very much like you, actually. Remember when you told me how you couldn't do well in school, only focusing on subjects that interested you? That was my story as well. Only my subject was chemistry.
What did you do to me?
Put something in your coffee every time we've met over the previous 2 weeks. Dosed you with various compounds, experiments. You were a particular puzzle, Jeff. A tough nut to crack. But from the look in your eyes right now, I'm going to say we've had a breakthrough today.
You poisoned me?
Of course not. I'm helping you, Jeff. You lack empathy, the ability to make connections with other people. It's because you can't hear them, Jeff. Can you hear them now? Their voices. I can hear them. I hear them all the time.
You can't do it. I'll turn you in.
You could have. Except you're a little distracted right now.
What do you mean?
You didn't even notice when I reached over and took your gun, Jeff. I've had it for 5 minutes. Where's your celebrated focus now?
No.
All right. Now let's begin our clinical trial. Describe for me how you're feeling.
No!
Oh well. It is a good day for some hunting.
You ran into the woods.
Yes.
Where were you going?
I don't know.
What were you going to do?
I don't know that either.
Were there voices?
So many voices.
Well, I think we can help.
You can?
Yes, Jeff, I think we can. Ultimately, that's why we're here, to help. Provided we can ascertain the situation.
Who are you, anyway?
That's unimportant. The important thing is, as far as you're concerned, none of this exists.
What do you mean?
This room, this table, that cup of coffee, none of it actually exists. It does, of course, but it's important for you to think it doesn't.
I don't understand. I'm imagining this?
We'll settle on that, yes.
I don't... What?
Time to run, Jeff.
What?
Time to run. Now.
What?
You stopped running, Jeff. That's most unsporting of you.
I don't understand what's happening.
None of us do. None of us ever have. Now run.
Clinical Trial, part of the Icebox radio theater series Frozen Frights, Aurora Borealis. Your cast this evening featured Cody Boyer as Jeff, Justin Kapla as Bernie and the cop, Caleb Silvers was Dr. Phelps, and Trelawney Irwin played Candace. Story, script, and direction by Jeffrey Adams, who also created the sound design. The Foley artists were Jeffrey Adams and Evie Conat. Some sound effects provided by the Free Sound Project, available at freesound.org. This program copyright 2020 by the Icebox Radio Theater, which is solely responsible for its content. Learn more at iceboxradio.org.